Men more quickly forget the death of their father than the loss of their patrimony. That truth cuts deeper than any insult because it reminds you that pride and possession are the core battlegrounds of power. An insult is never just words. It is a strike at your throne, a public test to see whether you bleed. Every attack is staged like an execution. The crowd watches. They do not care about fairness. They care about dominance, and the moment you flinch, you are branded as weak. That is why insults feel heavier than logic demands. They are judgments on your ability to rule yourself. When you respond with outrage or long explanations, you surrender the crown. The weak rush to prove they are good or misunderstood, yet every sentence digs their grave deeper. A leader who pleads is already dethroned. Weak. That's not what I meant. Strong. Your opinion is noted. Weak. Please understand me. Strong. I stand by my decision. The difference is sovereignty. Explanations bend your spine. Concise statements hold it straight. Silence is even more devastating. A calm pause forces your enemy to sit in their own noise while you remain unmoved. Think of a workplace where a colleague mocks your idea in front of others. If you argue defensively, the room smells blood. But if you pause, breathe, and respond with a measured tone, we'll let the results decide. You shift the spotlight. The insult dies, and the authority flows back to you. You did not fight on their terms. You set your own. This is the predator's pause. Stillness turns their spear into your shield. Your task is simple. Never treat insults as wounds. Treat them as tests. Guard your throne by refusing to bleed for the crowd. Eliminate weak responses. Weaponize stillness. Let every insult become proof of your control. When you can stand calm before mockery, you have already won. Remember this line and carve it into your mind. Every insult is leverage if you refuse to bow. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. That line is not about cruelty. It is about the fortress of the mind. An insult is a siege weapon. It does not break bones. It breaks the throne inside your head. The moment you let words pierce your inner walls, the enemy owns your kingdom. This is why insults feel heavier than they appear. Psychology shows that social rejection or ridicule activates the same pain centers as physical harm. The brain exaggerates the slight into a threat against survival because reputation was once tied to life and death. That old wiring still rules you, and it makes every insult feel like a dagger to the heart. If you do not recognize this, you fight shadows instead of soldiers. Guarding the throne of your mind begins with clarity. Separate your identity from the noise outside the walls. A sneer in the office, a sarcastic comment online, or a dismissive laugh in a meeting are not definitions of you. They are arrows shot from outside the castle, and only your choice decides if they land. Weak. Why would they say that about me? Strong. Their words expose them, not me. Weak. I must defend myself. Strong. I decide what enters my mind. Your fortress is not made of stone. It is made of discipline. Each time you allow insult to pass without invasion, you reinforce the walls. Each time you react like prey, you open the gates to chaos. Imagine a heated debate in a workplace meeting. A colleague says, "That idea is naive." The weak throne crumbles. You rush to explain, your pulse quickens, and the room witnesses your fall. The strong throne holds. You pause, look steady, and say calmly, "Time will show its value." You did not fight for their approval. You ruled the field by remaining sovereign. The insult then transforms into proof of your control. The crowd sees who stayed in command, and the throne grows taller. Your countermove is simple yet ruthless. Reframe insult as tribute. Each attempt to cut you is evidence that you stand above. Why attack someone who poses no threat Remember, insults are the recognition of your presence. Let them serve as reminders of your power, not challenges to it. Hold the throne, guard the gates, and never surrender sovereignty of the mind. The world cannot dethrone a ruler who refuses to kneel to words. Your mind is your castle, guard it, and you cannot be conquered. Morning is the battlefield where your sovereignty is tested before the world even sees your face. The first message on your phone, the stray comment at breakfast, the memory of yesterday's failure, these are the opening volleys. If you meet them unarmed, your day is already lost. Small humiliations strike like arrows, not because they are lethal, but because they are relentless. Research shows that repeated social slights compound stress and diminish resilience. What seems trivial becomes corrosion. Allow them to pile up unchecked, and your will weakens before the true war has even begun. You must wear armor before stepping into the field. The way you start your morning determines whether insults find an opening. If you rise and immediately surrender your attention to notifications, you hand the enemy the keys to your fortress. A sovereign begins differently. Establish rituals that harden the mind. Silence before speech, order before chaos, clarity before contact. It may be meditation, reading, physical training, or even a deliberate pause with no distraction. What matters is not the method, but the mastery. These actions declare that you, not the outside world, set the first tone of the day. Weak, I wake and react. Strong, I wake and command. That distinction is the difference between prey and ruler. Minor provocations are your drills, not your downfall. When a colleague sends a curt email, do not rush to mirror their tone. Respond with precision and calm, or wait until the heat subsides. When someone gossips in your presence, resist the reflex to defend yourself. Treat these moments as sparring conditioning for the larger battles that truly define you. Each small restraint is a soldier trained, each silence a shield polished, each measured word a weapon forged. You are not avoiding conflict, you are mastering it in fragments so that when a greater storm rises, your defenses are second nature. See the morning as war games. Each slight is an exercise. Each irritation is a chance to harden your will. Do not despise the darts. Use them to practice sovereignty. Begin the day armored. Treat small wars as training, and you will walk into greater battles untouchable. Win the morning, and you win the war. Stillness is the weapon that most men never master. When an insult strikes, the untrained rush to fill the silence, bleeding power with every word. The strategist waits. History shows commanders who ruled the field through pause alone. Julius Caesar was known for listening without hurry, allowing rivals to reveal their weaknesses while he revealed nothing. Napoleon often stood in silence after challenges, forcing his enemies to fidget, second-guess, and unravel under the weight of their own words. These men understood that silence is not absence, it is presence sharpened to a blade. In modern arenas, the principle remains the same. A CEO challenged in a boardroom who responds instantly, looks defensive. The one who pauses, considers, and then delivers a short, steady line appears unshakable. Politicians trained in debate know the pause well. They let an attack hang in the air, allow the crowd to absorb it, and then strike with a measured counter. Weak, that's not true. Strong, pause, here are the facts. The difference is night and day. Stillness reframes the moment. You are no longer on trial. You are the judge deciding when to speak. Picture a team meeting where a colleague mocks your plan. The ordinary leader rushes in with explanations, stumbling over details, proving the mocker's point. The disciplined leader allows silence to stretch. Eyes turn toward him, expecting a reaction, and when it finally comes, it is calm. We'll let the outcome settle it. The attack dies in its own echo, and the authority shifts. This is the predator's pause. The lion does not roar at every noise in the jungle. It waits, calculates, and then moves with certainty. The delay is not a weakness. It is the tightening of the bow before release. Your task is to resist the reflex to answer immediately. Use silence to reclaim ground, then respond with brevity and precision. Do not meet chaos with chaos. Meet it with composure. The pause is both shield and dagger. It protects your dignity and cuts through the enemy's noise. The most destructive wounds from insults are often self-inflicted. The enemy fires a single arrow, but you drive it deeper with your own hands. History is filled with rulers and leaders undone, not by the insult itself, but by their desperate reaction to it. When the French King Charles VI was mocked for weakness, he responded with erratic punishments and paranoia, confirming the very image his enemies painted. When Richard Nixon lashed out at critics during Watergate, his defensiveness fueled the scandal more than the accusations alone. Overreaction makes the slander appear true. You cannot stop people from speaking, but you can decide whether their words destroy you. The first reflex is always the weakest. Apology when none is required, outrage when none is wise, whining when dignity is needed. All are signals of surrender. In the modern world, you see it every day. A celebrity responds emotionally to mockery on social media and ends up amplifying the insult. An executive reacts angrily in a meeting and confirms insecurity. Weak. That's unfair. Strong. Your view is noted. Weak. I didn't mean it that way. Strong. The decision stands. Each phrase you choose is a sword or a chain. Words can either cut the enemy or bind you to them. Ruthless elimination means killing the impulse before it leaves your mouth. Train yourself to pause, breathe, and observe the insult as if it was smoke in the wind. It has no power until you fan it with your own response. This requires practice because silence in the moment feels unbearable. Yet that silence is where authority is built. When you cut away the instinct to defend, you leave the enemy stranded with their attack echoing back on them. Imagine a colleague saying, "Your plan is foolish." If you meet it with immediate protest, you lose stature. A ruler cannot afford to look wounded. The throne is theater as much as it is power, and insults are part of the performance. History shows kings and generals who wore mockery like a crown. Queen Elizabeth I was called weak by foreign rivals, yet she stood in armor before her troops at Tilbury and projected strength that silenced doubt. Frederick the Great endured ridicule from nobles in his early reign, but cultivated calm poise, letting victories redefine his image instead of words. By refusing to show the arrow had pierced, they turned insults into ornaments of authority. What mattered was not the insult itself, but the way the audience saw their reaction. Public perception magnifies every move. In the modern age, a single outburst can tarnish years of work. Leaders who meet ridicule with composure rise in stature. The CEO who laughs lightly at criticism and returns to focus commands more respect than the one who snaps back. The politician who maintains steady posture under attack gains credibility in the eyes of the crowd. Weak. That offends me. Strong. I hear you. Weak. You cannot talk to me that way. Strong. Let's continue. The stronger voice is not the louder one. It is the one that holds its mask while others lose theirs. Even if you do not feel unshaken, you must act as if you are. Role-play the sovereign until others believe it fully, and belief will begin to shape reality. In a workplace, when someone dismisses your suggestion as irrelevant, your mask of command is to nod calmly and say, "Noted. Let's revisit later." You do not give them your wound to exploit. Over time, the habit of composure becomes second nature. The crowd begins to expect calm from you, and expectation itself creates power. This is not deception, it is discipline. You are not denying that insult stings. You are denying your enemy the theater of your pain. The mask of command is armor, and it is also a crown. Refuse to let your face betray weakness. Refuse to let your voice slip into apology or outrage. When insult comes, wear it like a jewel, unmoved and untouchable. The insult dies when the mask does not crack. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. That line is not a command to cruelty, but a reminder that craving approval is a fatal weakness. The ego that longs to be admired is the softest target. Insults cut deepest when they collide with vanity, when the mind demands recognition and applause. Philosophy has long warned against this trap. The Stoics taught indifference to praise and blame, knowing that both enslave the soul. Machiavelli understood that rulers destroyed by the need to be loved were rulers stripped of power. Detachment from vanity is not coldness. It is armor. When you no longer expect validation, insult has nothing to pierce. Modern life, however, is built to feed the ego and then humiliate it. Social media dangles approval like currency. Every like, comment, or mention creates a spike of pleasure, and every absence or insult feels like a blow. People measure their worth in pixels and allow strangers to rule their emotions. This is how fragility is engineered. Weak: they didn't like my post. Strong: their reaction means nothing. Weak: I must explain myself. Strong: my value is not up for debate. The digital stage magnifies ego until even the smallest slight feels catastrophic. If you let this cycle own you, you walk into battle naked, vulnerable to every insult. The way out is assassination of ego. Imagine yourself as a warrior who chooses to become nobody. A man without vanity cannot be wounded by mockery, because he does not place his life in the hands of others' approval. This is not withdrawal from ambition, but the sharpening of it. You pursue mastery, not applause. You build strength, not image. If someone calls you insignificant, you remain unshaken, because insignificance to them is irrelevant to your path. By becoming nobody in their eyes, you gain the power to become untouchable on your own. It is paradoxical but true. When you stop needing to be admired, you rise beyond the reach of insult. Insults awaken fire in the body before they ever touch the mind. When someone mocks you, your pulse quickens, your chest tightens, and heat spreads through your veins. This is biology, not weakness. The body prepares for fight or flight, releasing adrenaline to sharpen your senses and prime you for action. Left uncontrolled, that fire burns recklessly, causing rash words and regret. But when you harness it, insult becomes fuel, and the energy that once threatened to overwhelm you becomes a weapon in your hand. The predator knows that hunger is strength, if disciplined, destruction if not. Modern warriors use this alchemy every day. Athletes remember every doubter, every critic, every insult, and carry it into the arena as fuel. Entrepreneurs are mocked for unrealistic visions, until the mockery becomes their drive to prove otherwise. History is filled with innovators who turned ridicule into momentum. Weak: they humiliated me. Strong: they gave me fire. Weak: their words hurt me. Strong: their words power me. The ability to convert insult into fuel separates those who fold from those who rise. The crowd may jeer, but the sovereign takes the energy and forges it into victory. Imagine yourself in a meeting where a superior ridicules your proposal. Rage surges, but you do not lash out. You absorb it, store it, and let it sharpen your work until the result speaks for itself. Your silence in that moment is not weakness, it is preparation. You are feeding the wolf inside you, ensuring it is lean, disciplined, and deadly. The insult becomes meat, and you are hungrier, sharper, more relentless because of it. The wolf that starves for comfort dies in weakness. The wolf that feeds on scorn grows powerful. Channel insult into action. Breathe when anger rises, then turn it into focus. Let every mockery become a weight on your back, pushing you to grow stronger. Do not squander the fire on words. Invest it in victories. Discipline your rage, and it becomes resolved. Train your mind to see insult not as poison, but as energy handed to you for free. Feed the wolf, and hunger will make you unstoppable. Every insult is a move on the board. The careless player reacts to each piece like it is the whole game. The strategist sees the larger pattern. History is filled with rulers who understood this truth and even provoked insults deliberately to bait their enemies. Machiavelli observed that the wise ruler controls appearances, and many leaders throughout time used ridicule as a trap. When an opponent mocked them publicly, they let the enemy expose arrogance or miscalculate, then struck when the moment was right. The insult was not a threat, it was an opening. In the modern world, the same principle applies. In politics, a well-timed criticism can be redirected to highlight your strength instead of your weakness. A CEO who absorbs a harsh question without flinching and then calmly reframes it shows more authority than one who lashes out. Sometimes the wisest move is to sacrifice. Allow minor attacks to distract while you quietly prepare your decisive strike. If you spend energy fighting every petty insult, you burn out before reaching the real battle. Instead, let small words pass and use them as cover while you advance your greater plan. Imagine a meeting where someone undermines your suggestion with sarcasm. You let it pass, continue with composure, and later present results that silence every critic. The insult served as a pawn offered to distract, while you positioned yourself for checkmate. Your task is to stop playing checkers with your enemies. Do not meet every insult head-on. Treat words as pieces on a chessboard. See which ones matter, which ones can be sacrificed, and which ones open a path to victory. A strategist does not fight for every square, he fights for the throne. The wise do not answer every insult. They use them to win the game. Strength under insult is not born in the moment. It is trained like muscle. A soldier does not wait for battle to sharpen his blade, and you cannot wait for humiliation to harden your mind. The Stoics practiced this truth centuries ago. They exposed themselves to discomfort and ridicule deliberately, teaching the mind to endure without collapse. Seneca advised rehearsing misfortune so that surprise could not wound him. Voluntary exposure was not punishment but preparation. When you choose to taste small doses of hardship, insult loses its sting. You become accustomed to the weight of scorn and discover it cannot crush you. In the modern world, you must craft habits that forge the same resilience. Create controlled arenas where you practice indifference to criticism. This could be deliberately sharing ideas, knowing they will be challenged, posting work without obsessing over reactions, or training your body until fatigue silences vanity. Each repetition is armor. Weak, they laughed at me. Strong, I trained for this. Weak, their words define me. Strong, my will defines me. By building these rituals into daily life, you condition yourself to thrive in environments that break others. You teach your nervous system to remain calm, and composure becomes instinct rather than effort. Go further. Spar with words the way fighters spar with fists. Imagine scenarios where insults are thrown, and practice measured responses. Roleplay with trusted allies or drill alone, answering imagined attacks with calm brevity. Foolish idea. Response. Time will decide. Invincibility is not the absence of attack, it is the ability to grow stronger with every strike. Throughout history, certain figures became untouchable precisely because insults surrounded them. Julius Caesar was mocked as ambitious, yet each insult only confirmed his rising dominance. In the modern world, The same pattern plays out. Public figures who endure endless ridicule often turn it into the foundation of their brand. Celebrities attacked by tabloids use the attention to expand their influence. Entrepreneurs dismissed as foolish leverage the doubt to prove vision. Politicians transform insults into evidence of courage, telling supporters that opposition means they threaten the established order. Weak, they are against me. Strong, they are confirming my importance. Weak, their words damage me. Strong, their words build me. This is the shift from victim to sovereign. Once you master it, every insult becomes raw material for growth. The final stage is alchemy, turning slander into currency. Picture insults as gold coins tossed at your feet. The insecure man scrambles to throw them back, denying their existence. The strategist gathers them calmly, placing them in his treasury, each coin proof of power. The more insults arrive, the richer he becomes. In practical terms, this means letting attacks amplify your presence, refusing to shrink, and allowing the very energy meant to break you to elevate you. Imagine standing in a meeting while someone dismisses your work. Instead of protesting, you nod, remain composed, and later use the criticism as fuel to deliver undeniable results. The insult becomes investment, and the return is sovereignty. You cannot stop people from attacking, but you can turn every attack into leverage. Train yourself to see insult as tribute, mockery as recognition, and resistance as confirmation that your presence matters. When insults become your currency, you are untouchable. Every insult collected is another coin in the treasury of power. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. That single truth captures the essence of insult and humiliation. Love is fragile, easily swayed by rumor or ridicule. But fear, or more precisely, respect rooted in strength, cannot be shaken by mockery. The insult is poison to the untrained, but to the strategist it is alchemy. Every attack is fuel. Every humiliation is raw material. You are not diminished by ridicule. You are tested, hardened, and transformed. This is the convergence of every principle. When insult becomes your throne, you rise beyond ordinary vulnerability. History is filled with leaders who understood this grand strategy. Julius Caesar faced accusations of tyranny long before he wore the crown, yet he used every insult to justify decisive action. His enemies sharpened his legend by trying to tear it down. Abraham Lincoln was mocked mercilessly for his looks and his voice, but he stood calmly under the storm until his critics realized his endurance was his greatest weapon. Churchill was ridiculed for his warnings about Germany, yet the mockery amplified his credibility once events proved him right. In each case, the insult was meant as poison, but became steel in the hands of those who absorbed it. Their enemies unwittingly served them by fueling their authority. Modern proof surrounds you. Public figures in politics, business, and entertainment who thrive under constant attack show the same principle. Athletes turn doubt into relentless drive, proving their worth on the field where words no longer matter. Entrepreneurs dismissed as dreamers let the mockery compound into energy, turning scorn into billion-dollar empires. Even in everyday life, those who rise above ridicule gain more respect than those who fight it. Weak, stop insulting me. Strong, your words change nothing. Weak, that hurts me. Strong, that fuels me. The shift is subtle but absolute. The insult, once fuel for weakness, becomes a currency of strength. The crowd begins to see you as untouchable, because nothing they throw can move you. The final transformation is complete when humiliation itself becomes your throne. Imagine walking into a room where whispers circle about you. Instead of shrinking, you sit calmly, composed, and let the whispers grow. Their noise confirms your presence. Their gossip becomes evidence of your significance. You are no longer prey hunted by words. You are the predator of perception, feeding on the energy of your enemies. The more they attack, the more you grow. The sovereign does not silence ridicule. He consumes it, converting each insult into authority. You no longer react to insults as pain, but treat it as tribute. Each attempt to wound you is recognition that you cannot be ignored. The command is clear. Stop treating insults as death and start treating it as gold. Refuse to defend, refuse to plead, refuse to shrink. Absorb the strike, harden under it, and return with greater strength. Treat every humiliation as a test of sovereignty. Understand that enemies give you energy every time they try to cut you down. Rise beyond the fragile need to be admired, and use every insult as the very foundation of your power. Turn poison into power, and no insult can destroy you. An insult is fire. Left unchecked, it burns you into ashes of bitterness, humiliation, and insignificance. History shows this clearly. Many leaders and public figures collapsed, not from the insult itself, but from their inability to rise above it. They allowed ridicule to consume their confidence, answering every word with rage or apology until their authority dissolved. Failure here is not small. It is the loss of sovereignty over yourself. Once you hand that power to others, you no longer rule your own mind. You are ruled by their voices. Mastery transforms the same fire into the forge. The strong do not waste breath protesting. They let insults harden them, sharpen them, and make them sovereign. In the modern world, this is visible everywhere. Athletes who replay mockery in their heads during training sessions break records with that energy. Entrepreneurs dismissed as dreamers use the ridicule as proof they are onto something disruptive. Leaders under attack in the media rise in credibility when they remain calm, dignified, and unshaken. Weak, their words break me. Strong, their words build me. Weak, they wounded me. Strong, they armed me. The transformation is total when every insult becomes leverage. You must choose. Burn in resentment, or forge a weapon. Collapse under ridicule, or rise sovereign over it. The insult itself is neutral. Your reaction decides whether it weakens or strengthens you. Train your mind to treat every attack as tribute, every slight as material, every humiliation as investment. Refuse to give the crowd your pain. Refuse to let their words dictate your worth. Instead, use them to prove your control. The sovereign is not untouchable because no one dares to attack him. He is untouchable because no attack can move him. Carry this command forward into every arena of life. Do not deny insults. Do not run from them. Gather them, wield them, and let them multiply your power. Every insult is a weapon. Wield it and none can wound you.